Now, unemployment and the lack of economic opportunities continue to haunt the youth of this country. As South Africa continues to observe Youth Month, there are calls for young people to find innovative ways to be economically active. Entrepreneurship is one of the possible options in the face of growing unemployment and a struggling economy. Let's bring in Bernadette Bule, who is the Communications Manager at the Junior Achievement South Africa. Bernadette, thank you for coming to studio and making time for us.
Thanks, Clement. Really a pleasure to be here.
So we often talk about the youth of 1976 and the fight against the oppressive apartheid system. But when you talk to young people, the youth of today, they will tell you that, well, we are also at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
100%. And, you know, the thing that's interesting is that education continues to play a critical role in the trajectory of young people. So we are definitely at a crossroads, especially with the unemployment figures sitting at over 66%. A lot of our young people not in education, in employment and training. And so something is needed, and that's where Junior Achievement comes in. Yeah,
what do you guys do? How do you assist in moving the youth forward and giving them the necessary skills to stand on their own?
So one of our biggest taglines is that we provide the skill set and the mindset to build thriving communities, because a lot of what we see in terms of entrepreneurship does require a certain mindset. So being able to offer our 3 core offerings, which is in financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship, we encompass that in our programs, from young people as young as 8 to at the age of out-of-school youth at 35. We provide certain programs that will be able to speak to that. So in terms of entrepreneurship, giving them practical experience within the entrepreneurial space. In financial literacy, we find that a lot of our young people, over 50% globally, are much more financially savvy than those that are non-alumni of Junior Achievement globally as well as in South Africa. In terms of work readiness, we provide skill sets in terms of preparing them, job shadowing, giving them exposure to the work environment, because I think you would agree that a lot of us have this perception of what we want to do when we want to study, but when you actually go into the field, there's a different context there.
Yeah, that's why a lot of us go back to study what we really are passionate about.
Exactly.
Let's talk more about entrepreneurship, because often we glamorize it, right? Yes. You can be your own boss, but there are a lot of challenges that come with entrepreneurship. And I mean, apart from the work that your organization is doing, I imagine it's also important for government to start taking it seriously and maybe teach young people about entrepreneurship from an early age. What difference would that make?
It definitely will be a big difference. A lot of what we think is, as much as we teach entrepreneurship, a higher percentage of our alumni actually go on to do exceedingly well within the workspace. So entrepreneurship really gives them with that mindset to be able to go into any area to problem solve and also be able to position themselves in better stead than their counterparts, right? So entrepreneurship, we are saying, as much as we preaching the message of entrepreneurship, there's more to the message. It's not just about teaching someone to start a business and then continue. What we do find is that a lot of our entrepreneurs that are strictly within the entrepreneurial stream are much more innovative. They're not just lifestyle entrepreneurs, but they are real entrepreneurs that are really making a change. Then you want to talk about those that are survivalist entrepreneurs. Counter to popular belief, a lot of our alumni actually are not just survivalist entrepreneurs, but like I said, they innovatively go into the market because they've had a trial and error experience, and by the time they then proceed to actually decide that this is a viable career option, they've had that experience and that exposure. Not only is that in terms of training and practical experience, but we also provide them with mentorship and guiding them in that process. So it's much easier for you to execute something when you've had a role model in that space, as opposed to just reading theory, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about education a little bit. You could argue that the youth of today have a better access to education, but are we asking ourselves questions about the quality of that level of education?
Unfortunately, it is true that what we're learning in classrooms are still based on the old way of doing things. We need to position our young people to prepare themselves to operate within a global economy, right? And that's what happens with our alumni. They go through our program, they're not just learning what they're learning at school, but it supplements what they're really learning, and giving them exposure to practical, hands-on training really gives them that exposure. 100% education is there, And the partnerships with government are quite important. We're recently undergoing a program that we're implementing called the Social Equity Program. We've partnered with the DBE for the Presidential Young Initiative that is underway, and we're empowering over 1,000 young people with the skill set and the mindset to move away from just executing themselves as teachers, but also thinking differently as entrepreneurs. How do I move out of this role, because that was a one-year term? So now that you are now back within the market, what do you do with that? So us coming in and partnering with the DBE really exposes these young people to say, not just look at yourself as a teacher, but what other opportunities out there? One of the traits that we find with our entrepreneurs is that they're able to look within their communities and see opportunities. And that's a unique trait. As much as we think, well, entrepreneurship is everywhere, or business or small enterprises, being able to really identify a problem and problem solve for the community that you're in.
Yeah. And as you teach them about even problem solving, how much do you focus on the future of work? Because the work of today is not always going to be the work of tomorrow. And sometimes we need to focus on training these young people about what the world and the future of work is going to look like. I mean, there's AI now that's coming up. People need to know how to navigate that as they walk into this future of work.
You know what we find, Clement, is that unfortunately, even when we go into rural communities or even urban rural communities, these young people don't even know how to use the email. Or using a tablet and saying, okay, what is an email? What is the purpose of it? Even being able to communicate. So one of the things that we do in terms of our work readiness, really give them that exposure. This is why we have an email. Giving them programs that would be able to teach them and prepare themselves to practically immerse themselves into the workspace. We provide job shadowing opportunities as well. We recently had an implementation in the last week with the likes of your Oliver Wyman, where we had a few young people who went to practically sit with a mentor. And that's quite important, because over 70% of our alumni actually say that the hands-on mentorship that I received from that job shadowing experience really helped me choose the career path. So 88% of our young people are saying that they're much more happier within the workspace, as opposed to 47% of their counterparts that were not exposed to the world of work and now finding themselves in a career, like you say, going back to school and saying, actually, I should have studied something else.
Yeah. Where do you guys operate? Are you mostly in towns? Are you helping young people? Do you go to rural areas as well?
Yes, we work with the underserved. A lot of our funding is based on really reaching out to the underserved. We have a footprint across the country, so within the 9 provinces. We work with urban and semi-urban rural areas. And a lot of our young people are people that would otherwise not have access to the opportunities we provide. So therefore providing an equity that really uplifts them and makes them really on par with their counterparts that have access to better resources than they do.
So when you are assisting the entrepreneurs and they're able to stand on their own, one of the issues when you talk to them that they mention is the issue of finance and access to the markets. What kind of help do you bring for them? How do you connect them to the markets and to the various institutions that provide the necessary funding, the capital to kickstart their businesses?
One of the key things that we're finding is a lot of businesses are saying, how do we give back, right? Not just be able to provide them with the skill set and the mindset, but really be able to, like you say, access to market. We partner with a lot of our funders and our partners, and they play a critical role in us making sure that our young people are not just exposed to our programs, because it does come free to them, but also opportunities. Some of our funders are looking at it from an enterprise development perspective and saying, how do we able to move these and then provide them with funding? In the last few years, we've had certain funders that have come on board, and after having seen the entrepreneur moving forward, and I use that word entrepreneur very, very careful, because entrepreneurship is really being able to move forward and innovate within the space that you're in, you know. And so we've had funders that have come on board and been able to fund some of them. We recently had a partnership with the Standard Bank Tutua Foundation innovation competition, where young people went through our program over a period of 5 years. So they started in grade 7 and they're now in grade 9. And one of the things that the 3 teams that won, they won seed funding towards their business idea. So it's quite important for the funder to be able to see that we're not just providing them with the skill set and the mindset, but really seeing them practically scale as a business. And being able to fund that is something that I think anyone would be excited for.
Yeah. How do people join your program?
Okay, so we have various programs in primary school, outer school, and high school. Our website is www.jasa.org.za. We currently have 2 exciting programs for young people looking to upskill themselves. One is the Social Equity Program, which is funded by the Zurich Foundation. Now, what it does, it's a 3-day boot camp, which is for free for all the young people that are interested. They just need to show up. It really gives them access to opportunities to present, and then they would be able to then move forward and present to and compete regionally. We also have a program called the IBM Skills Build program, which we go to school, so we have a target of reaching over 10,000 for the year. So visit our website, www.jasa.org.za, and get in touch with us, and we really look forward to empowering young people.
All right, Bernadette, Bule, thank you for joining us, and good luck with the great work you guys are doing there at Junior Achievement South Africa. Thank you.